Alrighty, and now it's time to get to our third category of the night. Now, I've been hosting Truth Wanted for a while, and I hear a lot of unsubstantiated claims, some of which are so unsubstantiated, we actually created an entire category for the most unsubstantiated claims we've heard this year. And somebody who's also heard some of these unsubstantiated claims are our fellow call screener, Kurt. Kurt, please take it away.
Hitchens Razor states, that which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. Too often, people will call into Truth Wanted with claims that they are unable to logically back up. Before we dismiss their claims, let's look at some of our favorite evidenceless claims from throughout the year. The nominees in the category of biggest unsubstantiated claim are David with COVID is a hoax.
Yeah, for sure. So you have an interesting thing I think you want to talk about, the HCID classification when it comes to COVID-19. So tell me about that.
Yeah. Are you familiar at all with that or no?
To be honest, I'm not 100%. If you ask me what that acronym is, I couldn't tell you. So you'd have to.
Glenn, with animals are better off living a short life than none at all.
Okay. All right. Suppose there's aliens that are better at acquiring food and they want to eat humans. Would you rather live 10 years and then be the alien's food, or would you not like to live at all? Would you rather just have not existed?
I would probably rather not exist, but again,
Trina, with I can feel the pain of others.
Yeah. So what's going on? What do you got for us?
Well, I'm not sure if I can call it an ability or if you'd like to call it a gift. There's many names people like to give it, but I can actually use my hands and feel somebody's physical pain without physically touching them.
Feel somebody's physical pain.
And the winner is David with COVID is a hoax.
And his new projection is now up to, like, the highest would be 20,000.
So what do you think that means?
Do
you think that means there's a conspiracy going on, or do you think that's just a revision of projections after new data's come out?
Well, listen, man. People aren't working. Nobody's working. Huck, somebody in your comments just said he just looked it up. He did not retract his projection down. I didn't say he retracted his original projection, by the way. I said he revised it. So, people are putting words into my mouth.
Okay, well, David,
with that said, though...
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, with that said, I called a number of police stations in New Jersey today. And, I did a live stream on my channel. And, I asked the police, I said, according to the First Amendment in the United States, we have freedom of assembly, right? And yet they're saying that they are busting people who are having parties for 50 people or 10 people, right? As not, not allowing to have people have these, people assemble.
Sure.
So I asked the police that, and they said they were following the orders, and I said, does this violate the Constitution, the First Amendment? And it was interesting, the responses I got. They kind of got into like a groan, because they're caught. The First Amendment is very clear. We have freedom of right of assembly, and unless they have suspended the Constitution, then that First Amendment does not cease to exist.
Well, so it's not federal agents that are really stopping us from going out and hanging out in parties. A lot of this is happening on the state and local level. There's no federal decree out there.
State and local government cannot trump federal. State and local government cannot trump the federal Constitution.
Actually,
correct?
There are state laws that do, like, I mean, it's the separation of federal and state powers. I mean, if you're like marijuana, for example, is illegal federally. However, you can go to Colorado and go into a shop and just buy it. Like, there are these separations that do and can happen.
Well, I don't know. I think it's been argued in courts that the Constitution, the United States Constitution, trumps state laws. Like, you cannot make a state law that this is from what I read. Maybe I misread it. I'm fine. I've been wrong plenty of times before. I find it peculiar that they are for something that now has been revised to down to 20,000 deaths from this Neil Ferguson character. I don't know anybody who is sick or died from this. I know a lot of people, and none of those people know anybody who has died from this, and yet people are being bankrupted. The middle class is being carved out for something that there's no evidence that anything's taking place here.
Whoa, wait, you're saying there's no evidence that people are infected with the virus?
I'm saying there's no evidence that the consequences of what they are saying, the consequences that they're implying that are taking place, meaning thousands or really hundreds of thousands of people could potentially die from that. I don't believe there is any evidence. What makes you believe that there is evidence?
Well, hold on, wait. But that didn't quite answer my question. I'm wondering, do you believe there is a disease like infecting people?
There may or may not be. I do not know.
Okay, so what? So
do you? Do you
yeah,
know?
Absolutely.
Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? Okay,
yeah.
What is your evidence? What is your evidence?
There are people that I know who have told me that they have families and loved ones who have COVID. And I don't know why my friends and family would tell me that people have COVID if they're lying to me.
You didn't hear that they say that there's an 80% false positive response rate on the tests, supposedly?
Well, how can there be a false positive for a virus that doesn't exist?
Well, I said it may or may not exist. Didn't I say that? Or are you going to put those words into my mouth?
But you asked me if I believe
I want you to answer that.
David,
did I say that it didn't exist?
David, don't make me mute you, dude. You asked me if I believe that the virus is a thing, and I answered your question. Yes, the virus is a thing. I totally believe it. So that was in response to your question. Okay. So and you made the counterpoint of, well, don't you know that there's an 80%, false positive? It's like, well, that doesn't make sense. There can't be a false positive if there's no positive. Like the virus has to exist. So that doesn't really, challenge.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't trust the news. I agree with that. But anyhow, you stating that it exists because you know people who have been sickened by it / I don't know, maybe even people who have died from it. If that is proof to you, that's kind of weak proof, because how do you know that the person just didn't die from an underlying disease that they previously had?
Because they have tests for it. That's why they do the blood work. We can test whether somebody has pneumonia or the flu.
Have you verified the test? Have you verified it yourself?
Why do I have to verify the tests to know that the tests are
because the reason why is let's loop back to the UK government reclassifying
why the living hell does my opinion on the tests matter? I have no expertise in the subject. How could I possibly verify?
Does the UK government's reclassification as no longer considering COVID-19 to be a high consequence infection? Why are you talking over me when I speak?
David, I'm talking over you because this is my show. So you can stop talking over me maybe and we can have a conversation, but I can just drop you at any time. This is all up to you and how you behave.